The first time you open up Photoshop, you will have the choice whether you want to start a fresh new document, which will be just an empty blank canvas, or you can of course open existing images. First, let me show you how to create a new document. We can click on New here in the welcome screen, or we can go to the File New option. Once I select that, I will have presets to choose from, and that you can find under the document type. Now here, as you can see, we have some options for web, mobile and app design, print, like US paper, international paper, and even other options like film and video. But let me just stick to photo, and I'm going to choose one of these standard sizes. So I will choose a landscape 5 by 7 inches. By the way, whenever you select one of these standards, you can still make changes to it. So if I want, I can change the size, I can even change the measurement. And then there is an option called resolution, which I'm going to talk in more detail later on. But this is essentially the print quality. And the higher the resolution is, the better your print quality will be, but the smaller the actual size of the printed image will be. The color mode by default is RGB, but we can choose from other options as well. Once again, I'm going to talk about color modes and bit depth in more detail in another video. For now, I'm just going to create this new document and click on OK. And as you can see, it already opened up here within Photoshop. This is the document window, and I can see currently this document is not named. I didn't give it a name when I started, so it's called untitled one at the moment. But I can save it, and the best way of saving your work in Photoshop is to save it as a Photoshop file or Photoshop document. So if I go to File, Save As, that's when I can choose what file format I want to save. I'm going to save it within my working files folder, and I just call this new document. So you can see the file format is PSD, which stands for Photoshop document, but I can change the format here at the bottom. So we have several other image formats, but the best options for you whenever you work in Photoshop will be to save a Photoshop or a TIFF file, because these can record layer information, and layers, as you will see later on, will be very important whenever you work in Photoshop. Of course, there's other file formats you can save for web or just emailing something. You can save compressed image file formats like JPEG or PNG. But once again, I'm going to talk about these differences later on. For now, I'm just going to save this file. And as you can see now, it's called New Document PSD. And it's saved on my computer. So when you have a new document, you can do all kinds of different things. You can bring in images, you can start combining them, you can retouch them, you can paint, you can even design all kinds of different things. So it's really up to you what you want to use Photoshop for. But in this course, I'm going to walk you step by step through the options you have. So first of all, you can bring in images. The easiest way to do that is by going to File and then choose Place Embedded. In previous versions, you might just see Place there, but if you have Creative Cloud, you will see Place Embedded. Now, once you click on that, you will be able to choose a file. I'm going to choose a file from my examples folder, and there I'm going to choose this image, which is a JPEG file, and then I just click on Place. Now, once I clicked on Place, it already shows up on my canvas, and it actually tries to fill in the space that I have. But I can always make this smaller or bigger. All you need to do is to hold down Shift and drag one of the corner points to resize. Let's say I wanted this size, and then I can click anywhere on the image to move it around. The reason you have to hold down Shift on the keyboard when you are dragging the side of the image is to make sure that you don't start stretching it. Look what happens if I don't hold it down. It might end up completely distorted. So that's why hold down Shift whenever you drag one of the corner points. Now, once you are happy with the size and placement, you can press Return or Enter on the keyboard, or you can also click on the Commit Transform icon on the top. So once that happened, now we have this image in our Photoshop document as a layer. You can see here in the Layers panel, it's called Sign. So I can always have this selected, and with the move tool, the first tool on the toolbar, I can start moving it around. So let's bring in another image just to practice that. I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, and then I'm going to choose another image, choose Place. You see again it came in and it fits to the canvas by default, but then I can shift drag it down to the size I want, and then I can press return again to accept the change. Now I have two layers, and I can switch between these layers by clicking on them, and then still using the move tool I can move them around. And you'll see that these images are actually sitting on top of each other, just like printed photographs placed on top of each other. I'm going to talk a lot more about layers, so this is really just a teaser. But apart from creating a new document and placing in images, you can of course just simply open an image straight away, and that way you don't have to create a new document. So if I go to File, Open, I can find any of my images on the computer, and then if I found the one I'm looking for, let's say this one here, I can just click Open, and you see it will open up. Now in this case, the background layer is the image itself. If I want to compare it to the previous document, I can still click on it here on the top, and you can see there the background layer is just empty. It's white, because that's the default color that Photoshop uses to fill in your canvas. So once again, if you know already that you would like to work with an existing image, you just go to File, Open, and then you choose the image, double click on it, will open it straight into Photoshop. Notice that whenever I open a new document, it comes up here on the top. This is called the tab area, and each document that we open or create comes up as a tab, and you can easily switch between them, or you can also see them at the same time if you go to the Window, Arrange options, and here you can find several options like Tile all vertically or Tile all horizontally. We can even choose 3 vertical or 3 up stacked, and then you will see how Photoshop will lay out the 3 documents at the same time. Now, of course, if you want to go back to tabbed view, just go again to Window, Arrange, Consolidate all to tabs. There is also another way to opening files and also to browse and search for files on your computer that you can then use in Photoshop. And the best tool for that is Bridge. It's called Adobe Bridge, and it comes together with Photoshop, even in previous versions, so not just in Creative Cloud. So if I go to File menu, I can actually find Browse in Bridge. If I click on that, that will open up Bridge, where I can look for all the files that I have on my computer in a much more organized and easier way than just simply using the File Open feature. So here you have several information about these files, like their pixel size, also camera data in case you are working with photographs, and so much more. So from here, all I need to do is to double click on an image, and that will open up again in Photoshop. So if I double click on this, you see again it came in to Photoshop, and now we have 4 documents. In case you don't need a document anymore, all you need to do is to close it. You can use this little X here, or go to the File menu and choose Close. You will see if you have unsaved changes on a document, whenever it has a little asterisk at the end of the tab. So for example, here I can see that these last changes I've done, bringing in these new images in this new document, are not saved. So there's the little asterisk sign. If I go to File, Save, that sign will go away, which means that this document is up to date. So I don't have to worry, it's saved on the hard drive. But as soon as I move one of these images around, you will see that the asterisk sign comes back, just as a way of reminding me that I might need to save this before I'm going to close it. Now that we are familiar with opening files and creating new documents in Photoshop, it's time to get to know the user interface. So we have to learn what are all these things here on the left side, right side, and on the top. So that's what I'm going to talk about in the next video.